Knocking on your doors. We want every Gambian to contribute $10. $10. Every Gambian to contribute $10 from the school children to the oldest. So we'll come and write to all the alcalos and the chiefs and heads of departments and head of companies. Again, it's only $10. I think every Gambian can donate $10. Like we say, you never know. The baby you save might be your own.
The move spearheaded by the Operation Save a Baby is meant to give these babies a decent upbringing.
GIA and all the banks for this presentation. I think all of us must learn from His Excellency the President how we can do this good job, how we can do this charity and volunteer job. Gambia today must to be proud because of Gambia has a wonderful sons who spend a lot of money for the patient and for everybody. Thank you, Your Excellency, the President.
The Gambia International Airlines, who always sponsor the first twins of the year, were also at hand to present the twins with a cash amount of $30,000, which they are to take home. GIA, according to Lamin Cham, is pleased to be associated with the Operation Save a Baby initiative.
I wish to state that GIA is always passionate about fulfilling our corporate social responsibility. This initiative, as we all know, came from Her Excellency, the First Lady of the Gambia. And as a result, GIA is always willing and glad to be associated with the Operation Save the Baby. And on behalf of the Board of Directors, management and staff of the company, I wish to assure Her Excellency the First Lady and the Executive Committee of the Operation Save the Baby that GIA will always be there to answer to their call.
Salima Tuba, the happy mother of the lucky twin, thanked the Operation Save the Baby and the GIA for providing them with such gifts, saying though she had some complications during delivery, the gifts served as a consolation. The first twins were also presented with gifts by the hospital and from a hospital staff, Fatu Nyabali. These twins, like the first babies presented with gifts on New Year's, are indeed lucky to have received such a solid foundation, and it is hoped that their parents will take advantage of this development for their benefit. Aissatou Badiane Sarr, Grts.
Officials of the Gambia government, the Supreme Islamic Council and other partners today gather at the Gambia Ports Authority grounds to receive what has now become an annual shipment of meat courtesy of the government of Saudi Arabia to Muslims in the country. Famara Kani has more on that program.
Gambia is one Muslim country that takes delivery of containers loaded with meat each year thanks to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Speaking at the presentation ceremony, the President of the Supreme Islamic Council, Al-Haji Lamin Toure, acknowledged that the Saudi government has been very supportive of the country. Imam Toure saluted the leadership of this country for creating the enabling environment for such interventions. He assured the visiting officials that they will supply the meat to the needy and poor in all regions. The Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, thanked the Office of the President and the Saudi government for the gesture whilst recognizing the cordial ties between Banjul and Riyadh. For Dr. Mbaye Kebaka, the presentation is a move in the right direction.
So on behalf of the Imam Ratib and his own behalf and the entire Muslim of the Gambia, he is thanking the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia through the government of the Gambia. And also he advised those who are sending this meat to make sure that the meat reach to the needy because they are the targeted people.
The Islamic faith advocates for sharing and caring with the less privileged and with such a spirit once again demonstrated by Saudi Arabia. Authorities here are giving assurance that the meat will be distributed fairly. Famara Kani, Grts News.
The Ministry of Higher Education, Research, Science and Technology recently validated the Tertiary and Higher Education Act 2014. The document, as Fatou Janambai tells us, now serves as the working tool for the Higher Education Ministry in its all-out effort to widen the accessibility of tertiary education in the country.
Education policy for the period 2013-2022 has been validated by the Ministry of Higher Education, Research, Science and Technology and partners, one of them the University of the Gambia. The over 40-page document will now be the working document for the Ministry of Higher Education for the next 10 years as it endeavors to reform tertiary and higher education and training for a knowledge-based society and the Gambia's enhanced competitiveness in the global economy.
The objective of the policy is to address the challenges of the tertiary and higher education sector. This is a sector that is growing over the years, and there is need to have structures in place to better address the challenges ahead, particularly the increase of demand, and as well as the number of institutions coming up, especially in the private sector. In the past year or so, we've seen a lot of demand from private institutions aiming to be established in the country.
The 10-year policy guide provides a framework to reform the tertiary and higher education sector, specifying a range of thematic areas. These thematic areas include access and equity, quality and relevance, research and development, technology and innovation, and sector management. And they seek to complement the last section of the policy, which focuses on sustainability and funding mechanism.
Main thematic areas encapsulated in the document include access and equity, quality and relevance, research and development, science, technology and innovation, and also sector management. So these are the main thematic areas of the policy.
These thematic areas to be critically looked at in the coming years for the realization of the policy objectives aimed at promoting excellence, growth, whilst maintaining international competitiveness. Success in these areas will augur well with the ministry's vision and mission. Strides to establish a tertiary and higher education system of repute, as well as institutions and centers of excellence that would produce well-educated and skilled citizens with the requisite competencies to lead fulfilled lives and compete nationally and globally.
If you look at the areas mentioned, for instance, access and equity, currently the sector is facing a lot of demand, is under pressure given the current capacity. A lot of pupils transit from basic to secondary, and from secondary to senior secondary level. And we at one point expect that the transition should continue from senior secondary to tertiary and higher education. So we want to set the stage to ensure that we have the capacity to respond to the demand.
The validation of the document is regarded a giant leap by the Higher Education Ministry. Reporting for GRTS News, I am Fatou Janembai.
That report by Fatou Janembai takes us to our first break.
kuliobe kela kubale ti banko kanja abe kulila mintu malesi bitulu ngoteli na January karo kono na sankudo min kanata in 2014 abe kela mintole Sahel Fitness Center mimbe koko ozone balatak na special guest fala soto minian ko wolbe mabe la je Vivian Sidid anim bala ge de be bala nam fa Senegal kana mabe nyin kuleto tiketo mu jellati ko kemi sabatoro mi programme minia sembento ya wolem Banjul Brewers Limited te ani XSL energy drink jalba ko yate ani ko mare ban wolle be jama be mandla nyin kuli bato mimbe kala Sahel Fitness Center.
End of your sales at KGI.
Welcome back. Al Jazeera News Network is demanding the release of its 4 reporters detained in Egypt. The journalists were arrested on Sunday after authorities accused them of being members of the now outlawed Muslim Brotherhood. The news channel, as we hear in this report, is accused of being partisan.
Al Jazeera is calling for the immediate release of its journalists. 4 reporters of the